why you should read the Evangelion manga. That's the question of the video. I'll answer it right away. You should read it because it's a different story, a different take on the characters, and you can like the manga even if you didn't like the show. In fact, I would argue that most people who didn't like the show will probably actually like the manga more. If you've watched the show, if you watched Evangelion, and you liked it, please go check out the manga. It's about 100 chapters. Story's slightly different and all the characters are slightly different. Plot progression's a bit different. Everything kind of adds up being just a tiny bit different, make everything relatively different. I said different a lot. If you haven't watched the show and want to read the manga, I think that's fine too. There's really nothing like connected. They're made by completely separate people. The author of the Evangelion manga is somebody completely separate. Hideki Anno had nothing to do with the making of the manga. And if you read the manga first and you're like, okay, I kind of like that, check out the show then. And for those who watched the show and didn't like it, I highly recommend you check out the manga, as the manga fixes a lot of the general issues that people have with the show. That being just kind of the weird pacing, the inconsistency of the characters, the plot, and the main elements and themes of the actual world and story being very esoteric and kind of hidden. The manga fixes that. It's much more straightforward, a bit less philosophical, and overall it just makes a bit of a better overarching story. And also Shinji's a bit less of a bitch, if that is your concern. Now, if you're even slightly interested in the manga after I said all that, please go read it. The rest of this video, we're about to go over some background of the manga, and then I'm just going to talk about some of my personal thoughts on the manga, compare it a bit to the show, and I don't know, maybe I'll score it or something. But yeah, so the manga's background and the making of it is more complicated than you would think. Basically, the manga started publishing in 1994, about 6 months to a year before the show Evangelion came out, and it started publishing as a promotional piece for the show. And the author Yoshiyuki Sadamoto was the character designer and just kind of main design person in general for the show, and he made the manga using the script for the show prior to the show's release. The majority of the manga is based off the show's script, but there's quite a bit of deviation. So okay, we started publishing the manga before the show began airing. So you might be wondering, when did the manga end? 2014 or 2013. I don't know, one of the two. Started before the original show started airing and ended after 3.0 came out for the Rebuild series. Why? Mainly just because there's a lot of hiatuses, a lot of delays. He wasn't working on it by himself, but he was solely in charge of it, and he even referred to himself as a college dropout in comparison to Anno, who is a honors student. So this says a bit about him, I guess. So with some background out of the way, let's just get straight into the review slash just talking about my thoughts on the Evangelion manga. Spoilers are ahead, so if you're still watching and you haven't read it, please, I recommend go reading it. If you don't care, then whatever. And let's get straight into it. I'm going to start off by talking about one of the most important elements of Evangelion, that being, of course, its characters. And in the manga, the characters are noticeably different, especially Shinji. One of the main things with Shinji is that we actually get his inner monologue, unlike the show. If you've read manga before, you know how when there's the box text, usually it's somebody's inner thinking, or maybe it's a narrator. But in Eva, it's Shinji's inner thinking, and it starts off literally within the first chapter, Shinji being yeah, low-key, I just live. I don't really care if I die, though. It's very straight up. Shinji is very straightforward, which makes him a bit more of an understandable character. And part of the reason for why we get Shinji's inner monologue in the manga, from what Sadamoto said, is that it's just very hard to depict a character's sort of mood solely in manga, unlike in a show where they have voice acting and everything, which gives hints to it. So he felt like it was necessary to show Shinji's inner monologue, to show him as a character more. But each of the characters have general differences that you'll notice throughout reading. For Shinji especially, if you watch the show, you'll notice a few things right away. One, Shinji's problems are much more straightforward. He is much more blunt about how he feels. He doesn't care about living. He's just kind of going with emotions. A few other things. Shinji is kind of a smartass, okay? He gets snarky remarks, okay? When Toji goes to beat the shit out of him, Shinji says, "Don't you get worn out from being angry all the time?" Bro's a smartass, okay? He talks back to people. He's snarky as hell, and all around Shinji just has more confidence. You can tell he's a bit more confident, and he gives no shits half the time, and he just says shit. Shinji's also main sort of dilemma, or his character arc, in comparison to the anime, is a bit different. In the anime, Shinji's relationship with his dad, or a strained relationship if we're being real, is one of the main driving factors for a lot of Shinji's issues and problems and dilemmas and lack of trust, but also necessity in other people. But in the manga, that's like kind of less focused. Shinji fucking hates his dad, but it's not like I hate my dad, but I still want his validation. It's I literally just hate my dad. Here's another spoiler, but Toji actually dies. Shinji like straight up kills him. It's not like he loses a leg and he's in the hospital. Toji is fucking dead. In the manga, after that happens, Shinji's fucking mad. Like, he damn near beats the shit out of his dad. And that kind of becomes one of the main, like, driving plot points for Shinji, this fact that he's losing everybody. And while that is focused on in the anime, it is like the main thing about Shinji is he keeps losing people and he doesn't want to lose more people. He keeps having to kill people and he doesn't want to do that. And that is like his main dilemma throughout the whole manga. Honestly, Asuka as a character, pretty similar, maybe slightly less, like a bit watered down Asuka. Pretty much the same character. Backstory is a bit different, and there are some elements in her introduction, mainly, where she's not introduced with Shinji on the boat. She actually beats the shit out of the angel herself, and then they kind of just run into her at an arcade. So her introduction's quite a bit different. Overall, she's pretty much the same character, but she's just a bit watered down. Rei, on the other hand, is actually quite a different character. Rei gets quite a bit of attention in the manga in comparison to the anime, where Ano straight up said he felt like her character arc was finished after the first 6 episodes. He didn't really care about developing it further. While it is similar to the show, it is, like with a lot of stuff in the manga, a lot more straightforward. It's her feeling of just being used by Gendo, not really being her own person. She gets a lot more development, and she probably talks probably twice as much in the manga than she does in the show, which is always cool to see, and I just thought her development was a lot better, and it made me a lot more interested in her as a character. Overall, Rei manga, really good. Another character I have to mention is Kaji. Kaji gets a lot of real estate in the manga, okay? He is very much a mentor to Shinji, which he is in the show, but we actually get a whole backstory of how he lived as a kid during the second impact. It's very interesting to see, because he feels much more like a mentor and figure for Shinji, even more so than the show, because he's very present. And he's telling Shinji all this stuff he found out that's going on at Nerve, and he's telling Shinji, like, you need to know the truth. You need to know what you're fighting for. Misato is pretty much the same person. Kaworu is pretty much the same person, but Kaworu's introduction is very interesting because it takes place in a weird part of the show. And we'll get into that right now. Let's talk about the story and general pacing and stuff like that. Okay, the story is very similar, okay? Don't expect too much of a difference. General beats here and there are different. Elements are different, like when Asuka and Shinji have to do the synchronization thing. Instead of being in Misato's home, they gotta live in this room, okay? Small stuff like that is different. There also is a lot of angel fights that don't happen in the manga, or they're kind of just brushed over and they don't spend too long on them. Like the whole volcano thing and the robot going to like that military base and the robot gets out of control. It's not in the manga, which is nice for pacing reasons, because those were definitely parts of the show that I felt were unnecessary. As I mentioned before, Shinji killing Toji was a big thing in the manga, and Toji's kind of character during that moment is, yeah, it's really good, but it's fucking heartbreaking, because Toji's like scared. He's like really scared, and he kind of like confides in Shinji, and he's like, I'm sorry, I'm scared to do this, and then Shinji kills him, and it's like all the more. I will say it feels a bit like on the nose. Toji kind of switched up so fast in the manga. That's another thing in general. Shinji's probably happier in the manga, because basically in the first half, before Toji dies, if there's Shinji on the screen and he's not piloting the Eva, more likely than not he's hanging out with Kensuke and Toji, like, all the time. So he definitely feels like he has more of a connection with people in the manga, which of course him not so much having that in the show was a major plot point. There's just small stuff here and there that just gives the manga its own identity. Something like this, where it's like Ritsuko choking Rei too at this point in the manga, that just shows a very interesting dynamic, because it reflects like what her mom did. Now this is one of the most major differences in the manga, and if you watch the show you'll realize, like, damn, this is really different. Kaworu is actually introduced at the same time that Asuka gets hit by the beam from the one angel and gets her mind like destroyed. Kaworu is introduced right before that happens, so it's a much earlier in the story compared to the show. And Shinji being a very different person than in the show, he really doesn't like Kaworu. It's very jarring in comparison to Shinji in the show, who like basically got attached to Kaworu immediately. Shinji hates Kaworu in the manga, and right away when he meets him, Kaworu just kills the kid. Just straight up. And Shinji does not fuck with Kaworu whatsoever in the manga. He doesn't like him for numerous reasons. Part of that being is because Asuka gets destroyed mentally, and unlike in the show where she still like kind of goes off and just does whatever and then they have to find her, she basically just becomes in this like comatose state immediately, and she's just in nerve hospitals right afterwards and just stays there. And Kaworu's like, damn, that sucks, that's crazy, anyways. And Shinji's like, what the fuck, dude? Are you fucking kidding me? And it's this weird thing because Kaworu like is trying to like Shinji and try to like become friends with him, and Shinji is just not having it, and he still has to kill Kaworu. Of course he doesn't want to because he's sick of killing people, but he still does it. So the manga takes the general script and story beat of the main show and the end of Eva, not the last 2 episodes of the show though. So what happens at the Eva portion? First off, hospital scene. Shinji does not nut on Asuka, okay? He goes there like, oh, Asuka, help me, and then she tries to strangle him. Pretty different, honestly. Works really well in the manga because you saw that Asuka's mom tried to strangle her like in the anime, so it's a comparison piece that works very well. Besides that, Shinji is pretty done with things. He's killed a lot of people, he's done a lot of stuff that he doesn't want to, he's just kind of going with it, and like in the anime, he's kind of over it. He just doesn't want to do shit. Unlike the anime, the person who comes and saves him from beneath the stairs is his dad. Gendo comes and has an AT field because he swallowed Adam, right? That's another thing. Instead of putting Adam in his hand, he swallows it, and he uses an AT field and protects Shinji. And he basically tells Shinji all this doomer shit like, oh, I hate humans in the world, I don't love you, shit like that, right? And then Masato comes in and is like, yo, fuck all that. And then we get this huge like triple page manga spread of Masato breaking down all the lore. Okay, this is what I mean by, if you haven't watched the show, or if you watched the show and didn't understand, you're gonna like this, because Masato actually brings this up in the movie, but it's literally like 3 lines and then it's just gone. In the manga, it's this huge spread with pictures that explains the general thing with Adam and Lilith and the black egg and all this stuff, and it breaks it down, so it makes it very clear. Shinji at this point is just like in the movie, done. He doesn't want to pilot it for anybody. Shinji's dad wants him to pilot it for his own reasons, Masato wants him to pilot it for her reasons, and Shinji basically is like, I don't want to do it. But then on the comms, they're like, yo, Asuka's activated again, she's fighting. And of course, Shinji being a lot more confident and wanting to help people, because at this point in the manga, Asuka's the only person left, and you know, he isn't off the deep end. He still wants to protect people, he just feels like he can't because he hasn't been able to so far. Shinji, he kicks ass, bro. In the manga, he kicks fucking ass. He goes to the Ava unit, he yells at that shit, and it breaks through the wall right away. He doesn't waste no time. He gets inside and he goes and beats the Ava series ass, okay? He protects Asuka. I will say, if you watch the movie and were unsatisfied, the fucking manga sure is fucking satisfying, I'll tell you that. However, despite still going absolutely crazy, Shinji still fucking loses, instrumentality still happens, Asuka is still alive. So there's this one moment where we actually see her part of the whole human instrumentality, you know, Anta moment, and that's kind of a cool thing to see as well, just something different. Gendo's death, very different. Ritsuko actually just snipes him, okay? She hits that 360, a victory royale for Ritsuko because he just dies, and then instrumentality begins. It's pretty similar to like in the show, in the movie. Also, the panels on here, oh my god, amazing. Some of the panels here, beautiful. Whole art, by the way, I love the art of the whole manga. I think it's fantastic. But one of the biggest differences in the manga, which we're going to talk about right now, which you might already know about from just hearing people talk about Eva, is of course the ending. So let's talk about the ending. So Shinji basically faces the same decision. He's in instrumentality, no AT fields, no different bodies, nobody can be hurt because everybody's just one. Just like the movie, Shinji decides this isn't what he wants, and he remembers the times he had with people, and he's like, I want that. Even if it's bad, even if I'm sad, I still want those happy moments. I want that. And I think it works differently in the manga. Shinji in the manga, again, a lot more confident, a lot more happy throughout. When he makes that decision, it really makes sense, because manga Shinji really was happy. First half, he was pretty happy. It just really makes sense. And it makes sense that afterwards, when Rei stops instrumentality, we get a very different outcome. Unlike the movie, where basically Shinji wakes up on the beach and the world is pretty much destroyed. Basically what happens is the Lilith Rei body turns into snow and blankets the earth and sends all the souls back. Instead of the earth being in a constant summer like it was before, it is now in a constant winter. You get it? You see how crazy that is? What happens is everybody's souls will send back and everybody gets their lives back, but there is no memory of the Avas, of the angels, of anything that happened in the rest of the manga, right? Nobody remembers anything. Everybody's alive, except people who died beforehand. So like Gendo is dead. I think Basato's also just dead. And it ends with us seeing Shinji leave his small town to go to Tokyo to go to high school, and he passes one of the Ava statues, and they're like, yeah, there's geologists trying to figure out what the fuck it is because we don't know. Hey, nobody remembers. It leads to this amazing panel where Shinji's getting off the train in Tokyo and he runs into Asuka and he gets a sense of deja vu. He's like, do I know you? She's like, who the fuck are you? Shinji still has Misato's necklace, and it's basically just him going to Tokyo and being like, I'm gonna live my own life. I'm gonna go out into the world and try to be the best I can. And it's a really amazing ending that I absolutely love, and one you just kind of got to read for yourself because it is very different, but I think it makes sense for this version of Eva, this version of Shinji. Shinji is a much happier person. We know him a lot more straightforward. We get actually a lot of flashbacks. In the manga, he lives with his aunt and uncle, not his teacher, but in the manga, we get a lot of flashbacks where we see scenes of him living with these people, and we just get Shinji's inner thinking in the manga as a much more straightforward way, unlike the show. But Shinji's just way more confident and happy throughout the manga, so I think it makes perfect sense an ending like this would occur instead of what happened on the beach, because there's a bit less despair, and that's another thing that we'll get into right now and wrap things up. Manga overall is fantastic. I think if you watched the show and liked it, you should definitely read the manga because it's just more Eva, and it's cool to see different interpretation. Hideki Anno had nothing to do with the manga, okay? Completely made by Sadamoto. Of course, the script was used as the base for the manga, but there are definitely some creative liberties taken throughout the entire thing. I think everybody should check it out. If you did like the show, or even if you didn't, I think you would probably enjoy this a lot. That being said, general thing also, overall, everything is a lot more lighthearted. Not like too much. It's lighthearted in terms of basing the show. So if the show is like this lighthearted, right? It's like barely, like the tone is really dark. The manga is like here. It's just a bit more lighthearted, but not by a ton. This is me while editing, but this is another panel that I think says a lot about the manga in comparison to the anime. This is the part in the show / manga when Misato is like, okay, actually, don't let Shinji live by himself. He can live with me. In the anime, of course, Shinji kind of just stands there. He's just kind of posted up in the back while Misato's talking to Ritsuko, and you can tell Shinji's just very emotionless about the whole situation. He just doesn't want to be here. In the manga, you see on screen, Shinji's pretty animated about it, okay? He doesn't want to live with Misato at all. He's like, fuck this shit. And it's actually kind of funny. And it shows two things that are very key in the difference between the manga and the show. One is the tone. It's a bit lighter, I will say, at the beginning of the story. The story definitely starts off much lighter, but then as we go along, it does kind of catch the same sort of tone as the show, but overall, yes, it's a bit lighter. And secondly, it shows Shinji's more confident. He's more sure of what he wants and what he doesn't want. He's not just kind of letting people tell him what to do as much as the show, and it just shows how much of a different character he is in the single panel alone. But yeah, anyways, the Eva manga is fantastic. My only real critique is that sometimes it feels like we have our characters in the manga and they're kind of their own thing, but then they have to like force into the mold and story beat of the version of the characters on the show. Asuka being an example where it's like she's kind of her own version, and she actually defeated the first angel she was introduced with. And again, in the show, one of her main things was that her feeling of inadequacy because she couldn't defeat Angel by herself. In the manga, that happens too, where she's like, oh, I only defeated one angel by myself, and that felt a bit forced. So there's moments like that where it feels like we're just kind of forcing ourselves a bit into the original script, but besides that, not really much to complain about. Very good overall. I enjoy it heavily. I'd probably give it like a 9 out of 10. I enjoy the manga a lot. That's my thoughts on the Evangelion manga. Let me know if you like the manga in the comments below, or if you don't like it, let me know if you like it more than the show. Personally speaking, I don't like it more than the show, but I still think it's fantastic. Obviously, I gave it a 9 out of 10. Let me know any more thoughts you have on Eva or any of its different versions. Thank you to my 4 patrons, Poppy John, Samson, Sreme, and Favri. If you would also like to support me on Patreon, it's linked below. It's one tier, $1. And yeah, thank you for watching, and have a good day, morning, night, wherever you are, and goodbye.